Good day and welcome to another episode of What's Happening Today, presented to you by Rapido News Network. In our first story, we will discuss the church attack in Orange County, California. Next, we will talk about the agreement reached by FDA and Abbott Laboratories about formula milk to try to ease shortages across the country. Post that, we will talk about chaos in Pennsylvania GOP primaries that threatens to upend the midterms. And in our final story, we will talk about the Russian Ukrainian conflict. So let's get started. In our first story, we will talk about a gunman motivated by political hatred against Taiwan, who shut the door of a California church and hid firebombs inside before shooting at a gathering of mostly elderly Taiwanese parishioners, killing a man who tackled him and possibly saved dozens of lives, authorities said on Monday. A US citizen who authorities said grew up in Taiwan drove to Orange County on Saturday. The next day, he attended a lunch held by Irvine Taiwanese Presbyterian Church, which worships at Geneva Presbyterian Church in the community of Laguna Woods. Though he knew no one there, he spent an hour mingling with about 40 attendees and then executed his plot, authorities said at a news conference. Authorities said Chow chained the door and put superglue in the keyhole. He had two 9mm handguns, which he legally purchased years ago in Las Vegas, and 3 bags containing, among other things, 4 Molotov cocktail-type incendiary devices and extra ammunition. He opened fire, and in the ensuing chaos, Dr. John Cheng, aged 52, tackled him, allowing other parishioners to subdue him and tie him up with extension cords. In our next story about the agreement reached by the Food and Drug Administration or FDA and Abbott Laboratories to curb nationwide food shortages, FDA on Monday reached an agreement with Abbott Laboratories on the steps needed to reopen the company's shuttered baby formula plant, which could begin to ease the shortage of infant formula that has frightened and exasperated parents nationwide. The FDA said it expected Abbott to restart production in about 2 weeks and was poised to review progress at the plant in Sturgis, Michigan. It has been shut down since February after several babies who had consumed the formula that had been produced at the factory fell ill and 2 died. In our next story about the chaos in the Republican primaries in Pennsylvania that threatens to upend the midterm to a degree surpassing any other contest in the 2022 midterm so far, Donald Trump has poured his personal prestige into Pennsylvania's Republican Senate primary race, which is going through final spasm of uncertainty as Kathy Burnett, an insurgent candidate with a sparse resume, gives a last-minute scares to Trump's pick, Dr. Mehmet Oz. The turbulence also has major implications for Trump's hold on the party, which is growing more alarmed that the former president's involvement in the primaries could scupper Republican stances of reclaiming the Senate House despite President Biden's unpopularity. Now, in our final story on the Russian Ukrainian conflict, Ukraine said it had given up fighting at the Azovstal steel complex in Mariupol, allowing hundreds of its fighters who had been taking a last stand there to be moved to a Russian-controlled territories, securing for Russia a hard-fought and costly victory to seize a swath of the country's south. The steel plant had been the final pocket of resistance to Russia's bid to create a land bridge between the Crimean Peninsula and areas it controls in the east. It is alleged that Mariupol and its residents had sustained some of the worst and most brutal attacks since it was surrounded in early March because the city stood squarely in the way. Hours after meeting in Kyiv with President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine, Senator Mitch McConnell issued a forceful counter-argument to the isolationists by his own party members who have questioned whether the United States should be sending another $40 billion in aid to Ukraine. This is not some handout, Mr. McConnell, Republican of Kentucky, declared in comments that could just have easily been directed at the lawmakers he leads. It's important for the United States to help. It's important for the free world to help, Mr. McConnell, the Senate Minority Leader, told reporters. It's important for the Ukrainians to win, and hopefully not many members of my party will choose to politicize this issue, he further added. In Russia, President Vladimir Putin faced a series of setbacks on Monday over the Ukraine invasion, as his faltering military appeared forced to further shrink its goal, at the same time emboldened by NATO practiced war games with alliance's two newest applicants on the country's doorstep. To make matters worse for Mr. Putin, his own allies in the Russia's counterpart to NATO failed to rally around him at a summit meeting in Moscow, leading to the optics of an increasingly isolated Kremlin in a full display on Russia's state-run television. One of the few bright spots for Mr. Putin was that the decision by Ukraine's military late Monday to finally end the resistance of the holdout fighters at the Azovstal steel mill in the southeast port of Mariupol, which has been under Russian siege for weeks. That was all for the major news update for May 17th. Stay tuned for our next update on the ongoing world affairs. We hope that you find this video useful. If you like this video, hit like, and for a continued update on what's happening around the world, consider subscribing. And to never miss an update whenever we post something new, hit that bell icon. If you have any comments or any suggestions for us, please let us know in the comment sections below. Thank you.